People are in a state of compulsiveness. Anything you give, they are so compulsive, they make it into suffering. Compulsive eating, compulsive drinking, compulsive everything.
If only if people did something consciously, at least for 10 minutes a day, you would see all these things would go down dramatically.
So the problem is not phone, problem is not something else. Compulsiveness is the problem. The solution is only consciousness, there is no other way.
For those things, we have very powerful, kriyas and karmas. Kriya means internal action, karma means external action.
The whole system of yoga, or what we are calling today as inner engineering, is essentially about having the ability to employ the discretionary dimension of who we are. Are you looking for just well-being or are you looking for liberation? That's the question. In today's world, humanity suffers from various kinds of issues like addictions and compulsive behavior. Being addicted to substances, alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, and various other aspects of life. So these addictions and compulsive behaviors, which can lead to psychological pits like depression, manic depression, all these things, essentially what it means is, in some way, we are not able to make use of the discretionary dimension of who we are. To be human essentially means this, that though we have our instincts, though we have our needs, a human being is capable of employing his discretionary mind in such a way that he can go beyond his needs, he can go beyond his compulsive behavior. Unlike other creatures, a human being has the ability to employ his discretionary mind in such powerful ways that he can even go beyond his fundamental needs of life. The whole system of yoga, or what we are calling today as inner engineering, is essentially about gaining the ability, having the ability to employ the discretionary dimension of who we are. Discretion means that we can conduct our life the way we want it, not the way we are compelled by the situations in which we exist or the chemistry of our body or other kinds of influences upon us. Going beyond our chemistry, going beyond our genetics, going beyond the situations in which we exist, a human being can still craft his own life the way he wants it. The basic process of inner engineering is to empower a human being to be able to employ his discretionary dimension in such a way that he can move his life to a dimension beyond his present level of existence.
In the era of democratization of technology, innovation, smartphone, internet, social media, we are becoming more and more dependent on all of those tools. I am one of them. They are as important today as food, as water, as breath, as air. I'm sorry for the question. Are we, a human being, becoming stupid? Are we slave? Is this the modern life slavery for you?
No, I don't see it that way. Even if you were a caveman, you would carry a stick in your hand.
True.
You would never keep the stick down because it was necessary. Maybe there was a snake, maybe there was an animal, maybe there was something else. Always a stick. Today you're carrying a cell phone. I don't see any difference. That stick was useful at that time. This phone is useful now. Now, this is technology which has enabled us to do so many things. I remember 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was building the foundation, I had to go into those booths with a black phone and make 100, 200 calls at a time. Today, if I just think about it, my phone calls, all right? If I say a word, it'll call who I want and it's done. So life has become so much better because of a phone. But now people are in a state of compulsiveness. Anything you give, they are so compulsive, they make it into suffering. compulsive eating, compulsive drinking, compulsive everything. So the problem is not phone, problem is not something else, compulsiveness is the problem. The solution is only consciousness, there is no other way.
And controlling ourselves.
No, not controlling, becoming conscious. If you become conscious, you're liberated, not controlled.
Can the Kriyas help a person that has a history of long drug use, an obsession, compulsive behavior problems, mental problems? Can the Kriyas help with that?
It's a very small way we are working with people like that, but if we have to handle large groups of people like that, we need a certain facility and a certain support system. Definitely they could be helped, but it needs a certain atmosphere, a certain facility and things like that. Right now, the local volunteers and meditators have wanting to set up a center in the United States. So they bought some land in Tennessee now. It's a very beautiful piece of land. We have 3 waterfalls inside the land and it's very good. So if the center comes up there in a short while, then maybe we could think of handling such situations, but then we need to first build the place, then train the people. It's a long process. But definitely they could be helped if they are at least willing to be helped. And whatever the addiction, one thing is it's a mental thing. Another thing is it might have become a physiological thing over a period of time. Body has gotten used to certain chemicals and things. Even if you mentally want to give up, the body won't let you come out of it. So, for those things, we have very powerful, kriyas and karmas. Kriya means internal action, karma means external action. Both kriyas and karmas, a combination of this, can be used to completely detoxify the body so that the physical urge can be taken off. Once the physical urge is taken off, it is just a question of community support and family support and all that, because you can't keep a person in an institution forever. So, what kind of community and family support is there, which I feel is very poor in this country? The outside support is very poor. If you go on the street, everything is pulling you in that direction. For a person who's already been in it, if he walks on the street, there are so many things which are dragging him in that direction, isn't it? So there is no community support. There are a couple of people who have come from here, stayed in India for sufficiently long periods and they've completely come out of it, and the thing is they don't want to come back here because they feel if they come back here, they go back to their old friends and whatever, they're invariably going to get into it. But life doesn't work like that unless they're completely willing to uproot themselves from here and do something else, which I think is worthwhile, but not possible for large numbers of people. It's only possible for individuals.
The same pattern of things keep happening over a period of time. The same kind of emotion, the situation we go across is same. How to come out of that pattern in life?
So, it's good, at least you notice the same patterns are happening, repeating itself. Most people don't even see that. They keep repeating the same cycles in different scenery and they think they're okay. It's good of you, at least if you're noticing it. The scenery may change. Life scenery will anyway change. The last time some rubbish happened to you, you were in school. Next time it happened to you, you were in college, so the scenery was different. Next time it happened to you, you were in a job. Next time it happened to you, you were married. But the same things are happening if you closely observe your life. Suppose you're going to Coimbatore from Isa Yoga Center. So you were going to Coimbatore, you came to Irutupallam
and you looked around and you passed, and you were driving happily towards Coimbatore, again Irritupallam came. Oh, again Irritupallam, it's okay, bad luck. And again you keep driving, after some time again Irritupallam came. Something, but coincidence. Again Irritupallam came. If 4 times the same town is coming on the way to Coimbatore, that means you're going in circles. That means you're not going anywhere, isn't it? If you're looking at human life as just body, yes, body is getting somewhere, we know where it's getting. You know where your body is getting? Where's your body going? To the grave. Whether it's full moon or no moon, whether it's night or day, body is going 10 seconds closer to grave, 20 seconds now. As I'm talking, you're getting closer to grave physically, that's all that's happening. If you exist here as a physical entity, that's all that's happening. And if you exist here only as physical entity, slowly you will see life will be play, then it becomes pleasure, then it becomes so many things, then every joint hurts, and then it gets terrified because it's coming to an end. Physical life, this is a progression. You don't have to go through it to know it. You have enough intelligence to sit here and see it. But our fortune is, we are not just physical, we have other dimensions to us. In terms of your mental status, either it can continue to grow or it can go in circles. In terms of your emotional status, it can continue to grow or it can go in cycles. Other dimensions you may not be aware yet, but even there, you can go in cycles or you can go somewhere. Now when you say, I notice that my life is going in cycles, you're essentially talking about the situations around you. More than that, you're talking about your own mental and emotional states going through the same cycles. Some of the ladies, with all due respect I'm saying this, some of the ladies may observe this better than the men because their mental and emotional cycles are shorter. Every month at a certain time of the month, at least many of them go through a certain level of mental and emotional states which are repetitive. Because every month it's being repeated, they clearly know it's happening because of this. Because of a certain physiological situation, it is creating a certain psychological situation, is something that they can clearly notice. But unfortunately, you don't have menstrual cycles. I'm saying unfortunately, because if there was such a strong reminder, you wouldn't miss it. Because your cycles are of a different kind, you can close your eyes to it. You can go through life the same way without noticing it. Women are blessed because they cannot miss it, they can notice it, that this is happening to them. Men have to be much more aware, they need to do much more work, because otherwise you will think you're going somewhere, but every time you're going to Irritupallam, thinking you're going somewhere. Physiologically, there is a strong reminder in the female body. The strong reminder that is there in the female body is not a curse, it is a blessing if you know how to use it, because any volatile situation, any destabilized situation is a possibility. It's a possibility for change. When there is a set process, you can't change things so easily. When there is a periodic destabilization of the system, there is a great possibility for changing. But anyway, if you are going through cycles, everything in this system is cyclical, isn't it? The earth is going in cycles, the moon is going in cycles, everything is cyclical. If you do not stand up with a certain level of awareness and a certain level of determination and a sense of going somewhere, you will naturally become a part of the cycles. The various kinds of cycles happening. The longest cycle that's happening here is 144 years. Once in 144 years, certain things happen in the solar system for which we have 144 years, we have a Kumbh Mela. We were fortunate that in our lifetime we witnessed that. The next cycle is 12 and a quarter years, which all of us see. The others are much shorter. There are 3-year cycles, there are 18-month, 16-month cycles, there are other kinds of cycles. All these cycles, depending upon how unaware you are, how destabilized you are, how unfocused you are, you become available to those cycles. If you are completely scattered, you become available to the smallest cycle. If you are little focused, you become available to longer cycles. But everybody is subject to these cycles. These cycles can mean a bondage, or these cycles can also mean transcendence. That from one cycle of life to another, you transcend or you repeat the same cycle. That depends on who you are. When so many people… The difference between astrology and spirituality is just this. This is an unpopular subject that I'm taking on. Astrology is trying to tell you how these cycles bind you. Spiritual process is telling you how you can get away from these cycles. We are not denying the cycles. It will be stupid to deny the cycles. The cycles are definitely there, but we are looking at the possibilities as to how you can slip away from these cycles. If you live by the cycles, being conscious of the cycles, your life will have a certain equanimity, a certain level of success, certain level of well-being, certain level of prosperity. If you break the cycle, if you are constantly looking how to become free from the cycle, you are looking for your liberation. Are you looking for just well-being or are you looking for liberation? That's the question. Accordingly, you must live. So right now, if your life is going into cycles, repetitiveness, that you're repeatedly coming to Iritupallam, you understand you're not going to reach anywhere like this. It's time to change the pattern. Now I want you to observe, is it happening monthly? I'm sure for you it's not monthly. Is it happening once in 3 months? Is it happening once in 9 months? Is it happening once in 16 to 18 months? Is it happening once in 3 to 3.25 years? Is it happening in once in 12 years? I want you to notice this. Now you don't start imagining all kinds of things, but it is happening. Do you understand? It is just happening, whether you're able to notice it or not, it's happening. It's not just happening with your mental and emotional situations. If you are conscious, even physical situations around you will repeat themselves. It's so uncanny. It's so uncanny that even physical situations happen exactly the same way. If it's manifesting every 3 months, we can push it to 9 months. If it's manifesting every 9 months, we can push it to 18 months. 18 months, we can push it to 3 years. We can push it to 12 years, or we can push it to 144 years. Or above all, instead of trying to dodge these cycles, we can ride these cycles. I have been riding my cycles. Every time it comes, my life changes. And it will change dramatically in the next 4 to 6 months.
I had a question about sexual appetite. I think for men, it's almost that compulsive, the compulsive nature that we have adopted. And I'm wondering whether or not if one becomes more spiritual, their sexual appetite also becomes not so much a compulsive appetite.
See, every aspect of your life human being is capable of making it conscious. That includes sexuality. You can make that also into your conscious process. So once it's conscious process, it is no more something which decides the course of your life. It is not something that is compulsively working within you. It is something that you decide. That's how human life should be, isn't it? Everything you decide. You're not pushed or pulled into anything. And because it's compulsive, how many varieties of trouble people have gotten into, isn't it? If it was a conscious process, they would know when, where, how, what, isn't it? Just see the kind of amount of abuse, sexual abuse that is happening. You're not even leaving infants. That's not normal, isn't it? That's not even human. That's not even animal, it's sub-animal, isn't it? Because it's such a compulsive force. And yes, it's most terrible for the child, but my sympathy is also for the man. How degenerated he must be, how compulsive he must be to do something like that. That a human being can reduce himself to that level. How compulsive a force it should be within himself to do such a thing, isn't it? So that's simply because no conscious process has been brought forth into life. If people did something consciously, at least for 10 minutes a day, you would see all these things would go down dramatically, dramatically. They're not starved of sex. It is not because sex is not available for them. It is because it's such a compulsive force that they have to do something like this, isn't it? And it's becoming a big thing, not just in one place, worldwide. It is becoming such a big thing. It is not that it's not been in the past, it's probably more coming out now than ever before. But it's always been like this. People are clothed in human body, but living like absolute animals within themselves, doing things that even an animal would hesitate to do, isn't it? Even an animal would hesitate to do certain things that human beings are doing. So it has to become a conscious process. It need not be a drive. It need not be a compulsive drive. It can be a conscious process. Once it is conscious, how much of what you need in your life can be decided by you. Whether something is needed or not also can be decided by you, isn't it?